Hey there, Aquarius. It's Angela. We are here. We're going to do a quick soul guidance reading for Aquarians, whether it's in your chart as your sun, moon, or rising, anywhere else it's predominant, or if you feel compelled to just listen to this video, the message will be for you as well. Remember that energy is fluid. It's not constricted by any time frame. We are reading this in December. We're talking about the possible energies for this month, but it can apply to, this guidance can apply to at any point in your life. It can be general, it can be specific to what's going on with you, but always the guidance has been divinely drawn for you at this time. I want to invite you to get onto my newsletter if you can on groundeddreamers.com. I'm planning a lot of things for the coming year. This is going to really expand into more and more, and I would love for you to be along for the ride. Okay, so what we typically do is we pull one oracle card to give us a theme or a direction in which to explore. And that card is coming from this deck this time. It's called Goddess Dream. Beautiful deck. I love this deck. My favorite part about this is I was looking for a deck that was about animals, that had animals in it. And this one, every illustration includes some kind of an animal, forest creatures, or, they all have animals. So I love it because I get both the goddess vibes and the animal world at the same time. Okay, so your card, Aquarius, is acceptance. This is pertaining to the cycle of life specifically. So, of course, with that, we talk about loss. Loss is part of life. This could be loss of, a loved one, or of a dream and a hope that you had carried for a while. Loss of your well-being, of your youth, that's part of life. And to be sitting in acceptance of that, whether it is a specific personal loss that you're experiencing or in general. I mean, if you think about it, every single day there's an opportunity to tap into the fact that that cycle of life is constant, right? There's big examples of loss, like in wars, and where people are where people leave this planet en masse, where there's situations where I don't really want to get into anything too deep, but there's always an opportunity to think about that cycle of life, even in nature, like in autumn, when the leaves fall from the tree. But what we want to be is in acceptance of this cycle. The tree doesn't fight or cling to its leaves in the autumn. It allows them to fall away so that it can start new growth, so that it can, find a way to regenerate itself. There's, the goal of this reading will be to find peace in that loss, peace in that change and that transitioning. Just remember, all is change. All is change. And if we're in that momentum, if we're allowing ourselves to be in full acceptance of that momentum, the pain, not to say that we'll go through it pain-free, but the pain is, it's a shorter cycle, and sometimes it's less intense if we have that sort of higher awareness that this is how we move through. This is what the universe does, right? It cycles through these changes. So let's get to your reading and see what we can determine from this Zen spread for you, Aquarius, okay? So as typical, I am presenting to you the tree spread. There is, the center of the tree from trunk to top, two sets of branches. We start on this first set of branches. We move down to the trunk and take root and get grounded in this energy in order to be able to facilitate growth. And that helps us rise to a higher level of awareness here at the top set of branches. Okay, so now as it pertains to acceptance in the cycle of life, we start here. And we start with the burden. This is a mental energy, and this is a probably you know, when things, I wasn't going to say, what I was going to say is this is a really heavy situation for you, but it doesn't have to be that for everyone. It could just be this mental awareness that, oh, this, you know, loss happens, and that could be uncomfortable for you from a mental perspective. It could be uncomfortable just thinking through, you know, where I was and where I am now. I have fewer loved ones around me. I have less virility because I'm aging and I'm slowing down. That this could be something very personal for you, but if it weighs heavily on your mind, we're going to find a way to release that, right? This is your starting point, but it's not where you have to end, right? The guidance and the goal will be to take those mental burdens and put them down, right? Like this figure right here is the one with all the burden. He's got this dude on him and the animal here, and he's trying to move forward, but he's weighed down by other energies, right? Or other ideas or other thoughts. And so the goal will be to just put that weight down and move forward. Let's see what your inner being might have to say about that. Yeah. Okay. So I got completion. So within you, you know, the time to finalize those burdensome thoughts as it pertains to our losses. The time to leave those thoughts behind has come. And the card of completion in your internal position is talking about your intuition. And Aquarius, if anyone has that connection to the higher realms, it's you, right? You've got that. So your inner being intrinsically will know when and how to move on from the worry and the fears and those burdensome thoughts surrounding loss in life, which is, like we said, all is change. It's always happening. So finding a way to smooth that over for ourselves and not stay stuck in that space is important. And you can do that by letting your inner being guide you and know when to wrap it up. You know, okay, I will never, I will never stop acknowledging that with loss comes pain. I mean, that's not something that you want to really let go of. That's the truth, but it's the intensity of it and the inability to move on to the next moment that we want to have just more of an awareness around, so that we can fully be that tree that fully lets go of those leaves, ready for that new growth to move us forward. Okay, now let's see. So those energies combined with your inner being kind of guiding you to let go of some of those burdensome thoughts, we have this as a result in your external world, and that is adventure. So you now get to move on, right? The leaves have fallen. You've let go of the heavier thoughts. You know, you're done with that cycle, at least. And now it's time to move forward to something new, into that rainbow, beautiful existence. This little figure here is in the dark forest, and she sees the light ahead and just naturally moves toward it eagerly. Let's see what's next. Let's see what's there, without really knowing what's coming, but still eager to move forward. So this is beautiful for any of us that are experiencing or attuned to the cycle of life, and that loss happens. Give ourselves some time to be with it, but then once we know we're ready to move forward, once we know every last leaf has fallen off of our branches, we're ready. We could sit like the tree sits in winter a little bit, with no leaves, and the branches feel a little lighter. It can handle, the cold, because, the leaves aren't going to die off. The branches are still there. And you can sit with the loss a little bit, but then always, without fail, if you're moving with the energy, the spring will come and the new growth comes, and then you're moving forward in this manner. So I love it. I think this is a calling to be tender with yourself, and find ways to be present with whatever energy is here, so that whatever presents itself to you, to allow some forward growth, some forward movement, you're in a position to openly accept it and move forward, right? Remember, we have the very theme of this reading is acceptance. So I love that. Okay, so now we get to this card. This is the trunk of the tree. And this is, as in, I love all the tree, imagery here in this reading, even with this spread being called the tree. But the trunk of the tree, as we know, is the roots, and how deeply it's grounded and how healthy the roots are is the most important thing for its growth. For the top of the tree to actually see growth, we must have healthy, the water comes down here, and the minerals are in the soil, and everything is facilitating its growth. So this is a key card for you in this spread as it pertains to acceptance. And I got suppression. So it's a little bit counter energies. They're a little bit at odds with one another. Being able to be open and fully accepting what is, and then holding on to some older energies, holding, and it's interesting that it's below the burden card. Some of your burdensome thoughts may be rooted in old feelings that are dormant, or that you haven't allowed to rise up and be felt. So this is a darker energy, but it is not by any means saying, you're doomed and this is where you'll stay. This is just calling. And like I said, it is a general reading. So some of you may not feel this energy at all. It's just, or maybe it may not be as intense for you. The burdensome thoughts they may be fleeting. It's just a matter of knowing the flow of the energy and how to move, release some of that older stuff in order to move forward, whether it's heavy for you or not, right? And so that suppression card could just be a calling for you to have an awareness of older feelings, older energies that may pertain to you, and maybe blocking your ability to fully accept. It could be, old feelings that aren't so intense and deep, but it also could be, for some of you, things that are very, very intense within. Holding it down is, as we know, it doesn't work, because it works for a time, but eventually those things rise up. It's almost like trying to hold a giant, beach ball down into a pool, right? It's eventually going to rise up. It just needs to. It needs to rise up and come into the light in order to be moved through and dealt with and washed away. So as it pertains to this spread, I would say that is the key. It's, either have an awareness of those feelings that are within you that want to rise up and move away, or just know that when they come up, you can, in the future, just allow them to be felt in the moment so that they don't become suppressed, right? There's a couple of ways. It's either, and we all have stuff that's buried. We all have it. We cannot possibly address every energy and every feeling and every traumatic experience, all at once in our life. So it's a work in progress, right? But allowing it to rise to the surface is key to moving forward and into your full acceptance. And now we get to be here in this moving forward position and in this higher energy here. And the landing point for your higher perspective as it pertains to this subject is integration. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I got chills. So Aquarius, this is calling for you to take it all. That's the key to your full acceptance, is all, right? Remember we said before, all is change. And when you're in full acceptance of that, you can, take those burdensome thoughts, take the fact that you had burdensome thoughts, even if you've released them, take the fact that you've had feelings buried deep within and, sometimes would impede your progress to move forward, and just take all of those things forward, from that higher perspective. See how these are all in line. It's like the integration and this is the acceptance. That is the full acceptance of whatever this sense of loss or the awareness of the cycle of life is for you. It's being able to let it be there, right? Let it be there. Let the scary thoughts be there. Let the difficult feelings be there. Instead of pushing them down, instead of carrying them like a backpack on your mind, like a burden, it's allowing them to be there and still letting your inner being and the balance of who you are shine through. We don't we can wash things away. We can say, oh, that was in my past. But if you're in tune, any situation that you've previously experienced can be refelt, and those thoughts can come back, right? And with an integrated being, with your being able to accept your past and your present and your future worries and your inner being and your outer world and all of those thoughts and feelings and interactions and everything that goes with it, to be able to just be in the center of that and allow it all to be present, it takes the sting out of it. It takes that struggle away, because instead of resisting and pushing against and fighting, you're in a more allowing state of being. And that's the acceptance card there that we're talking about. So that integration and just letting it all be part of your story, but not any one situation, as it comes to the loss, be your leading story, if that makes sense at all. Because it's always, the cycle of life is continuous and constant and never ending. And we don't, if we grab on, like if we're like thinking of that as like a merry-go-round, and it's always going, the loss and the loss and the gain, and the cycle of life is always moving around us. And if we cling onto one point on that merry-go-round, our experience is a little more dizzying. It's almost like, whoa, where's my footing? But if you stand in the center of that merry-go-round as it's moving around, and it's things are going to come and go, right? But your inner being is aligned and solid in the center of it, in the midst of that chaos of change, there is there's just less drama, there's less intensity at times. So that's that integration card. It's being able to just hold your center through it all. Okay, now internally, your inner being wants you to know, as it pertains to the integration, I got experiencing. So this is calling for you to not only integrate all the parts of your life, past, present, future, inner being, thoughts, feelings, and integrate it all into your experience. But now it's saying, kind of take that on the road, right? Get into every moment, get into it, get into your morning routine, be more awake and aware, when you're driving to work, or when you're interacting with people at work, or at home with your family, and when situations come up, be in it fully. It's not a matter of trying to this will avoid these energies that we previously had, the burdensome thoughts and those feelings that are stuck deep within. If you are in full present moment awareness and really experiencing all of your life with all of that, all of those experiences and all that energy and all that knowledge and everything that you've gained with you, there is just such a fullness. And now you're in full acceptance when you can move through your life that way. Your inner being knows that staying in the present moment is the path of ease through life, even amongst the cycles and the losses and stuff. It's just being there, being with the loss when it comes, allowing those feelings to arise. It's like if we think about another tree image, this figure, she's with the tree and it, hugging it, and it's actually hugging her, and she's feeling it and probably smelling it and letting the crunchy leaves under her feet make a sound, and she's with that tree fully. And if this is you, with your loss, then you're feeling it all the way. And the trick there is the heaviness, that burden and that suppression doesn't stay with you as long if you're with it fully in the moment, right? It's if this figure were with this tree and then just kind of went, no, and pushed it away, tried to, push it out of her awareness, it's not going to work. The tree is there. It is part of her day, right? So that's kind of that guidance there, is to allow yourself to be with all of your things, all of your moments fully. And then the external energy that is a result or in response to this higher awareness of allowing it all to be there and allowing yourself to be fully present, is flowering. That's the sort of the cap to this reading, is that then your life continues to blossom, right? It includes loss, but it also includes gain and adventure and new ideas and new ways and new connections, right? And so that those seeds that were planted, along the way are starting to come through and show up. Newness, right? New life. As far as after the loss, we have the leaves come back and the tree blossoms. So I love, love, love the way that came out for you. I'm going to pull one little bonus card for you, Aquarius, just to give you another energy to add to this spread and kind of, give something else to focus on as you're moving through this cycle and this awareness of as loss comes and goes. I got completion again. We got completion early, as far as, your inner being aware of when it's time to let things go and put things down. And this is like the sort of reiteration of that energy, is kind of saying you can move through loss in a very complete way without it, being that sort of hanging on kind of energy. You can move through it. You can be in full acceptance, and you'll know it because those moments that used to be difficult and weighing you down you'll move through them more quickly, or with more ease. And that, the first completion was like your inner being kind of letting you know when to let go. And this completion is kind of saying, yeah, you got this down, right? The process, and experiencing loss does not mean ignoring it or even letting it prevent your life from moving forward after a time, right? We experience it, we feel it all the way through. And when we're ready, we get to move forward into that more, into the unknown and allow things to blossom again. So I love it. I love it. I love it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to try to, during December, and it may be January because of the way my schedule is, but I'm going to try to bring forth some 2023 readings for each of the signs. So we'll see if that's the next time I see you, then we'll be talking about forward motion for the next 12 months. Okay. Thanks, Aquarius, for being here. And I love you guys.